God, I'm so cold. I can't stop shaking. Oh. I'm inside this ambulance and there's this paramedic. He's talking to me. He has this kind of friendly look on his face. He keeps saying these nice things, but I don't know what he's saying. He has sweat all over his face. And I'm cold and I can't figure that out. I mean, maybe it's cold outside. That's why I'm shaking. And he's exerting himself or something. Or, I don't know, maybe it's hot. But then why am I shaking so much? Oh. I think you go into shock when you're in a car accident, don't you? I don't know, I've never been in shock. Oh God, Mom and I were just in a car accident. I'm not really... The paramedic keeps talking to me. He looks kind of like Tom Berenger. I can see the sweat from his forehead and his cheeks drip down. And then it forms this sweat ball on his chin. I don't think he knows it's there. I don't tell him it is. I just keep looking at it. I hope he doesn't mind. Then the weirdest thing happens. I can see myself in the sweat ball. I can see me on a backboard stretched out just like I'm looking in a mirror. There's this tiny me in the sweat ball on Tom Berenger's chin, and as he keeps talking, I keep bouncing up and down. I watch as the sweat ball starts to fall off his chin. Maybe I'm too heavy and it won't stay on anymore, I don't know. But it just starts to fall really slowly in the air. It doesn't drop. And it's like I'm this feather strapped on a backboard floating down through the air in the middle of this ambulance. It feels kind of nice. And then I think it widens or something because I can see David, the guy who hit us, next to me, and he's on a backboard too. He's got all this red blood all over his shirt and over his face. And he has a strap on his forehead just like I do. And we're just side by side, floating down together. Maybe we're floating because we're in a car accident. I don't know. And then it widens again, and I could see outside the ambulance. And I could see the sunlight coming through the pine trees. I could even see Hood Canal and its bay waters right outside. And in a minute, that sweat ball is going to drop on my arm. But before it does, I think something big just happened. I think that my life just took a hard left turn somewhere. Or maybe the road yanked off to the right at a 90-degree angle, and I just kept driving. I forgot to turn. I went right off the edge into these brambles and these metal twists. I don't even know where I am. And as I'm floating down in the sweat ball, I remember floating down before, and I remember the moon. And I haven't thought about the moon in 20 years. And I remember the basement. And I remember that 5-year-old kid that I was, who was full of this vibrant promise of life and who he was going to be, and how I just floated up, right up to the moon, and I just left him. Somehow, this sweat ball, curving crash, car accident thing brought me back down from the moon, right back into this life that I was going to be when I was 5. Like I get to fulfill this promise or something. And in the sweat ball right now, it's all so clear. Clearer than I've ever seen it before. The sweat ball drops on my arm, and it sends droplets right up my skin, and I shiver. And then I say out loud, I can see everything so clear. I say to the paramedic, I can see the canal, I can see everything, it's so clear. And he smiles, and he says, yes, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's a beautiful day. And that's when I begin to cry.